Hello everyone. So today I am doing a review of this. This is the Romulan Vertebrae from Star Trek Picard. Um, I wasn't a big fan of this series, but I did like some of the design work, and as such, um, I decided I wanted to get the Eaglemoss replica of the Vertebrae, mainly because Eaglemoss got it, could get it out in a year, whereas like if round 2 did it, it would take them 10 to 15 years. So, if not 20 to 25. Okay, so here you can see it. Hopefully it's in focus. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to cut in for some close-ups. So if you want to see close-ups of it, just stay tuned. So, yeah, I actually, little known fact, the original Romulan Vertebrae, basically this design is probably one of my most favorite designs in all of Star Trek. I think it looks really cool, it looks really aggressive, but the original, as classic as it is, and as much as I love it, it's a little under detailed. Please don't hate me for saying that, but this actually this was redesigned by John Eaves, and it shows. There's a lot of plating on it, and John Eaves himself in the book actually explains that the VFX company that works on Picard, and I guess on Discovery and the other shows as well, they really liked the whole plating, the three-dimensional relief kind of plating, and so after figuring that out, he actually started playing to that and uh, introducing that into his designs, and it shows on this one. I don't know if you can see it with the lighting, but it does have a kind of a 3D 3D plating effect on it. And I absolutely love. I actually opened this and then I closed it. Opened it for a reason. Here's some good shots of it in the book. I actually love the bird on the bottom of this. It's very angular. It's very aggressive. It's very modern. If you look at things like cars, buildings, the modern 21st century aesthetic seems to be angular but with some curves. And that's definitely what this is. This is a 21st century redesign of a 1960s classic. So, and I think it's great. I love the sharper edges on it. I'm a big fan of angular designs just in general, but not blocky designs, but ones that are angular and that have sharp features. I really love those. In fact, kind of the wings here, I actually have wings and kind of a sharp line on my makeup. So I kind of have integrated that into my appearance. I actually, there's a tattoo, it's a Star Trek themed tattoo that I want to get, but after seeing this design, the bird design on the bottom of this, now I want one of these too. So, yeah, hopefully I can find a tattoo artist that's good enough where they can actually do this and make it look good. Now, one of the things I like about this ship is that it's more aggressive. The pylons are actually angled forward relative to the original, just slightly, not a lot. If you take a flat surface, we'll try this. Okay, you can see just how much space there is between the front of the nacelles and the front of the primary hull. On the original design, the front of the nacelles is in line with the primary hull. But this one, they're just a little bit forward. So it kind of has, and one of the things I like about the original design as well, is it has this kind of driving forward kind of feel to it. You know, it looks like it's going fast, in part because it's this kind of angled forward. So you can have a sleek design with pylons and things like that that are angled back, but you can also have a very aggressive design with them driving forward. And I think that's just really cool. And yeah, it's just very kind of, you know, a lot of hard edges on this, and it's great. Interestingly, the bottom is almost flat. I don't know if you can see that. But the bottom is very flat, and that's interesting. I don't necessarily hate that. I think it's alright. It's different, but it's alright. Starships in Star Trek don't generally have flat bottoms on them. Even the alien designs generally don't. Now, in the book, they talk about how this is literally supposed to be the design from the 23rd century, from 2266. But it's very different, clearly. And like a lot of people have suggested, I think that my view of this design is that it is not the design from the original series, but it is a refit thereof. So, you know, this is like a motion picture era refit of the original Bird of Prey design. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the Bird of Prey, the Romulan Bird of Prey, in the Star Trek movies. But it was supposed to appear in Star Trek 3. That's why the Klingon ship in that movie was called the Klingon Bird of Prey, because it was originally supposed to be a Romulan design. And that's also why it has the red bird wings under the wings. So, a little bit of trivia there, if you weren't aware. But yeah, I think this is a refit of that original design. So, I mean, and this, if you put this next to the Katinga or the Enterprise refit, it falls right in line with those. You know, I think the whole plating is a little more aggressive, but the Katinga has pretty aggressive hull plating too. So, yeah. So I think definitely, were this to fit in somewhere, I think it would be the movie era. And it makes sense that some warlord, you know, in the 24th century might only be able to get his hands on something from the 23rd century. I mean, we're talking about military hardware, which even in the 24th century, um, was enough to kind of hold its own against at least one relatively small, although modern, vessel. So, yeah. And nobody really knows what the color of the original Vertebrae was. There's a lot of speculation. I kind of lean towards it being gray. But this one, it's a two-tone gray, as you can see. And interestingly, it's John Eves based the design upon the color scheme, rather, on seaplane. I think it was World War II. Forgive me if I'm getting that wrong, but I think it's a World War II, was a World War II seaplane, which had two different shades of blue, a lighter shade of blue on the bottom and then a darker shade of blue on the top. And that's most exemplified in the design by the engines. And I love that. Whenever I do designs of ships like this, redesigns, I always add lines like this. I just love that. Something about that really appeals to me. And I love the hoods on it. Kind of gives it a slightly more aggressive look. And it protects the Sard collectors to some extent, assuming that's what these are. You know, Romulans, they're aliens, so they would have different technology. But, yeah. Yeah, I think this is great. And the quality is wonderful. It's I've only seen one flaw, and that's on this side. A little bit of the hood was kind of chopped off. But let's be honest, these are being made in sweatshops. So, you know, I don't like supporting that kind of thing, but sadly everything that's made these days is made in sweatshops. So, you know, all of our clothes, I mean, we'd have to run around naked and not, you know, consume anything from society. So, yeah. Sad but true. But, yeah. I just think it's really cool. And it's a nice thing to add to the collection. You know, they redesigned the original Vertebrae for Enterprise. And it was curvier, it was kind of pointier. It didn't necessarily look more primitive. This, although it looks more detailed, you know, for modern HD televisions, it doesn't necessarily look a lot more sophisticated than the original. You know, it looks like it could just be the next design phase after that original Bird of Prey from 2266. So, yeah. This is my favorite version of this ship. So, just sitting there, it looks like it's going fast. It's really detailed. The light plays off of it really nicely, you know. And I love it. And although it wasn't intentional, if you kind of look at me with the hair and kind of with the makeup, you know, it's kind of got the wings, you know, and the angledness, and I look kind of Romulan, you know. When I look at myself in the mirror, I go, wow, I look kind of Romulan. And then I practice my mean face. Or mean faces. Anyway, so, yeah. So, if you know a place where I can get this design outside of the magazine, because there's a small version of the bird in here somewhere, right here. I guess I could probably scan the book and then enlarge that and just take it into like a tattoo parlor, but Yeah, I really want this design tattooed somewhere on my body. I haven't quite figured out where yet. The center of the back, you know, kind of a little bit higher up seems like the right place, you know. But I figure if I look like a Romulan, I might as well have, you know, a Romulan bird design. And I've been wanting to get a bird design like this tattooed on me since I was 18. So, yeah. Anyway, let's take a closer look at this thing, and so you can really see all the details. And I have some more thoughts on it and some more facts from the magazine. So, let's get into that. Hi guys. So, here is the close-up. And you can see some interesting patterns there. It seems to be kind of like a wear pattern, you know, because this is this ship, by the time it's seen in Picard, and by us, it's over a century old. So, as far as we know. And this here, this detail on the fin is an actual 3D detail, which I like. And you'll notice here in the quality control department that the left side of the impulse engine here is off. The right side is aligned, but the left side is off. Well, it's one of those things that you can just kind of expect. And I have to say, the amount of die cast on this thing is actually quite high. Let's see here. Yeah. The pylons and the upper half of the saucer are all die cast. This fin is plastic. The engines are plastic. And this back section here is metal. Basically you can see the line here, and this here is plastic. So yeah, there's quite a bit of die cast if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not a big fan of die cast in models like this, just because it's harder to capture fine detail in metal than it is in plastic. So that's why I prefer scale models to their die cast equivalent. So now let's measure it. Its widest point, it is 5 3/4 inches wide. Measuring the length on this is a little more challenging. It is roughly 4 3/4 inches long. So, yeah, there's the size of it. You can see here where the tip was kind of cut off or mashed or something. There was remnants of it on there, so yeah. You can see these little things. I'm guessing these are some kind of weapons, or possibly
Perhaps these are part of some kind of deflector system. I don't know. The wings seem to be thinner. Or perhaps I should call them engine pylons, but wings feels more appropriate for a bird of prey. But there is some detail in there, but again, because it's die cast, the detail isn't particularly fine. On the original it was kind of rounded, and so it's kind of a nice feature to see it see that there's a trench in there with some detail. I wish there was some clear parts in this. I think that would have been really nice. Yeah, I love that bird design. And compared to the original, this version, the engines are actually elongated. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I really like the impulse engines here. It kind of fills in a little bit of this negative space. And it gives you a really set idea of where the impulse engines are. I'm assuming these are not impulse engines, or some kind of something related to the power nacelles or warp nacelles, if you prefer. And this ship kind of reminds me of the Romulan bird of prey in the old 1980s FASA game. Because they had actually, because we never saw Romulan bird of prey in the movies, they had to kind of design one themselves, and this kind of reminds me of that, just insofar as how angular it is on the top, and the primary hull section, and the hull plating. The wings are definitely, nacelle pylons, wings, whatever you want to call them, they're definitely the old school style. I think in the FASA version they were just straight, and that to me seems like a step back rather than a step forward. But yeah. So in the book they explain that in the script for the episode, the La Serena was actually supposed to be captured by this ship, and presumably by the warlord that operates it. And so there was supposed to be a hatch right here, but unfortunately, it would seem all their interactions with the warlord were not filmed, which kind of cuts down on the tension a little bit. We don't see him, we don't hear him. I'm presuming that that the being is male, or at least identifies as such. And so, yeah, not a whole lot of drama in that scene, because we know that they're not, the ship isn't going to be destroyed. So I guess you could say that of just about any battle scene. So if I can get it to focus in here. So the windows on the rim of the saucer are actually misaligned. I don't know if you can see that there, but they're pitched upward slightly. As opposed to the windows on the top of the saucer, which are, from what I can tell here, fairly well aligned, except for right here. This section, they are misaligned. And a little bit here on the front, they are misaligned. But, yeah. And you can see the flat bottom. So, yeah. So that's it for the Eaglemoss Star Trek Picard Romulan Vertebrae. If you like this design, you know, here's an official release of it. So, it's expensive. You know, in the US, these things are like 60 bucks. So, but for me, I'm such a fan of the design, I think it was worth it. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.